Hello everyone and welcome back to another XeroLinux video. In this one, I will be talking about my experience with Gnome for the past week or so. Now, you know me by now, and in case you are new, I maintain a distro called XeroLinux that uses KDE Plasma, my all-time favorite DE. I swear by it any day of the week. Now, I know it has its own set of issues, doesn't everything? But I can live with them as long as I got my freedom of expression. That being said, I have decided to give Gnome, the so-called other side of the coin, another chance. See where that leads. And I have some gripes with it. That's not to say that it's bad. On the contrary. To the right user, it is a dream to work on. But first, let me show you around my setup. Keep in mind that this is a VM. I am still using it on bare metal, mind you, but to record this video, I decided to do it on a DE I know well enough not to have any surprises. I cloned the exact setup I have in this VM. Oh, and I also built my own vanilla ISO with Arch. So without further delay, let's dive right in, shall we? This is my Gnome desktop. As you can see, it's super clean. I use very few extensions, keeping it as close to vanilla as possible. Just added the ones that allow me to be most productive while working on XeroLinux and its repos. Here's a list of what I use. Launching extensions, and there we go. Arch Linux Updates Indicator. This allows me to add a tray icon that notifies me whenever there are updates. I could just click on it, check now, or open Package Manager to launch my favorite package manager, like in this case, Mac, and to check for updates and install them. Or I can install them directly when I click this here. If in case there are updates, I click Update Now, it will launch Terminal and install my updates. Simple as that. Very useful and quickly accessible at a glance. Arc menu. Oh boy, is that the best extension or what? But let me first say this. This full screen AppGrid thing that Gnome decided to use is kind of weird. It reminds me of macOS. I don't know if they cloned it from there or whatever, but in my opinion, it's targeted towards tablets or mobile phones. I don't see its use at all on a desktop. That's just me. So I replaced that with Arc menu. And Arc menu is the best menu. There is no rival to it even on KDE. Yes, unfortunately. I wish it existed on KDE, but alas, it doesn't exist there. It gives you, it's so customizable. Look at here. When you go to the menu, you select menu layout, you got the regular Arc menu, you got Brisk. When you click on that, it looks like that. Then you try Whisker menu, it mimics Whisker menu. You try Gnome menu, it mimics Gnome, etc., etc., etc. It's so freaking amazing. My favorite, nah, that doesn't look cool. This could be good. Yeah, this is cool. You see, it's super customizable. I love that thing. I will, if I ever start using Gnome for good, this will be the first thing I get, always. With that out of the way, caffeine, gray icon to disable screensavers and screen from sleeping while recording if I leave the screen idle for too long. Cover flow, Alt Tab. Well, since I'm a visual guy, I'm a writer by trade. I love that. See? Beautiful effect, simple, nothing too complicated. Dash to dock, of course, because it's yet another essential. I need my dock, and since I don't use that full screen thingamajig, I need my dock. So that gives it back to me. And here You see those numbers moving? This is NetSpeed simplified. Why do I need this? Well, unfortunately, I still live in the Stone Ages in Lebanon where we still use capped internet. And I need to keep my eye on that. If it's using internet without me saying so, it shouldn't be. I need to hunt for the app that's using internet and kill it. So that helps a lot. And finally, open weather. Why? Because with a click, I can get an idea of the weather and it gives me full details and everything I need to know. Whereas here, I have to click here, then take me to the weather app. Nah, counterproductive. Anything that is counterproductive is gone. Bye-bye. That's about it as far as extensions go. Of course, can't forget about this gorgeous wallpaper I got from Wallhaven. And yes, it uses the same color template for the keen-eyed among you as the XeroLinux main KDE release. That's me, I guess. My flavor applied here and all over. As for tools and apps I use, well, you will be surprised to know that I don't use many. I'm a very simple user, although I maintain a distro. Also, I do not and will not game on Linux, regardless of what everyone says. Now, I'm not gonna rant on the subject much. Just suffice it to say, I'm not a fan. Yet. Yes. Who knows what the future holds? Anyway, not gonna go through everything I use. This is a video where I talk about my experience with Gnome, not to list every app I use, right? First, a short disclaimer. As usual, I want you to keep in mind that everything I say here is my opinion, and my opinion alone. A lifetime KDE Plasma user. Nothing is meant to be taken seriously or generalized. With that out of the way, onwards! Let's start with that ugly, mobile-inspired macOS clone notification thingamajiggy, as I call it, that has most tray icons in it. Yes, I said ugly. Don't get me wrong here. It is very useful if I was using a mobile phone or a tablet. I really dislike it on a desktop. I don't know why would anyone use it on a desktop beyond me. I prefer an honest-to-God normal tray. Like here, you see those icons? I would like my tray icons right here, and I click and I see all my tray icons. One click, I access whatever app it's linked to. Not go here, go to an arrow, and hunt for whatever setting. No, that's counterproductive for me. It doesn't work. Now I have to hunt for an extension that allows me to get rid of it and get my normal tray back. On that subject, I also dislike that full screen app grid thingamajiggy that has been ripped straight off macOS again. I can't show it to you here since I disabled it. I never used it on macOS, nor will I use it here. As a result, it's gone. Out of sight, out of mind, I always say. Don't get me wrong. There are just some things that I have a hard time understanding. Why is Gnome slowly becoming macOS, layout-wise? Do the devs think it's the best one around? Very strange. Anyway, that's nothing that an extension can't fix, hence Arc menu. Back to some kind of normalcy. Which brings me to the subject of extension. I know some devs keep saying that using them is not encouraged. Just like Arch devs do not encourage the use of the AUR, in my honest opinion, for Gnome to be more functional, sometimes, not always, we have no choice but to resort to extension. And thank God for them. Otherwise, I would have gone cray-cray living on Gnome. I use the extension manager tool, as you can see here, to manage and update the few I currently use. Love that app. Very useful, especially if you use a ton of them. Yep. See, it shows you system extensions that I have and all the user installed extensions. It shows me which ones are incompatible, as in the case of PAMAC updates indicator, hence why I use the Arch app update indicator here. You can browse for extensions, let's say weather. You want to hunt for unsupported. If it's unsupported, it shows as unsupported. It saves us from having to go to the Gnome's extension website and having to install from there. This is a very awesome tool, useful tool. So I use it basically. And if you want to check for updates, upgrade assistant, check for compatibility, and it will scan all your installed extensions and tell you which ones are compatible and which ones are not. Very useful little application. Finally, I would like to talk about Nautilus, the bane of my existence. It has always been one of the most, if not the most important deal breakers for me when it comes to Gnome. But in recent times, it has grown to get better. I never thought I'd say this, but it's getting so good that I no longer need to grab another file manager to replace it anymore. But it still has its share of issues that I had to overcome. Yes, in order for me to be more productive, I need those plugins. For example, the context menu, yeah, that one, went on a serious diet for some odd reason recently, like no open as root. You see, this open as administrator wasn't there. I had to add that. Create new document, we had to add templates in here to be able to add that create new document. And here we had open with console. Let me get this straight. They're forcing us to use their all new GNOME console. Why? I mean, why? It's one of the most, if not the most, featureless terminals I have ever seen or had the displeasure of using. I had to re-add those myself via AUR tools. That's the power of Linux. If we were on Mac OS or Windows, good luck doing any of that. So yeah, open as administrator, AUR tool. Open GNOME terminal here, because otherwise if we removed console, for example, we wouldn't have open terminal here in the context menu. In order to get GNOME terminal back in the context menu, I had to use a package from the AUR. And this, for the keen-eyed among you, you might have noticed that there are two of them. This one is static, it will never change. But this one, you can replace with Alacrity, for example. You can replace it with whatever terminal emulator you're using. It's just a config file inside your .config folder. Simple, very customizable, perfect. That's exactly what I needed. Finally, with all that out of the way, I would like to say this. You might have thought that I am hating or disliking GNOME. No, I just want to say, wow, GNOME feels so much more mature now. It's more stable, smooth, responsive, and most of all, very user-friendly and easy to use. No moving pieces, unlike something like KDE that introduces issues with every new feature that we have to live with until either fixed or removed. Yeah, a KDE user is saying something negative about KDE. GNOME just works. It just works. I have had zero issues that I had to troubleshoot since I started using it. Yeah, it allowed me to be more productive. I love how more productive I am while using GNOME. I spend more time working on my distro than I do trying to troubleshoot issues coming from Plasma, for example. But alas, it's not all roses, at least not for me. It still doesn't give me the freedom of visual expression. Yes, visual meaning UI tweaks, like widgets, modifying the panel up here. I cannot move anything around. I cannot really customize the panel or the dock or anything for that matter. I need that freedom of expression. So yeah, GNOME is by far the best DE for those serious people out there who care more about stability and ease of use. And I have tried many others out there, like XFCE, Deepin, and others. It deserves its place on the other side of the DE coin. One side being KDE, the other one being GNOME. I love it. My two favorite desktop environments are KDE and GNOME. I do not hate GNOME. I will use it when I need to be on a stable system. And when I want to tinker around, I use KDE. But because I know KDE so well, I prefer to stick to KDE more than GNOME. But if I want to do something time sensitive and I need to get it out the door immediately, I work on GNOME. Now it has a place in my heart. Yes, it does. It might come as a surprise to some of you, but I'm getting to love GNOME because it doesn't give me a headache, quite simply. It just works. I need to do what I need to do. I do it. Done deal. On KDE, on the other hand, I have to troubleshoot a lot of things while working on what I need to work with. But it's more fun. I find KDE more fun. That's why I stick to it more than GNOME. That's it, I guess. I don't know what else to say, except there's a DE for everyone. I have found mine in KDE. Maybe GNOME is yours? Sound off in the comments below. What do you think? Are you a Gnome fan? Do you agree or disagree with my thoughts? I want to know more. Teach me how I can make my experience better with Gnome. And finally, a XeroLinux Gnome edition? Maybe? Let me know. With that being said, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't, ring the bell to get notified whenever I upload a video, and don't forget that I am running a fundraiser as well as Patreon. Please consider donating or joining. It would really be beneficial for the project. Links in the description below. With that, this is Dog Zero signing off. See ya in the next video.